Welcome back. Dr. Kim, continuing on with the topic of salt, which we were talking about before the break, I've often heard people say that if you have high blood pressure or hypertension, that salt is bad for you. Can you comment on that?
Here's a huge controversy between the two camps of scientists. People say, a group of people say, salt is bad for your hypertension if your hypertension is sodium sensitive.
So what are they really saying?
To me, it sounds like a circular logic.
It doesn't sound like there's any news there.
So salt is bad if salt is bad.
Salt is bad, right? Okay.
But the fact is, we need a certain amount of salt every day for our metabolism.
Right, minimum requirement.
And our immune system will be totally confused if we lack of salt.
Right.
So we have to take some salt. So it's wrong to expect that no sodium diet is possible. No, it's not possible.
So it's not so much then about the salt as about...
Oh, so these days there are more sensible positions regarding this debate. They say it is not about salt. It is the balance between potassium and sodium.
So potassium and sodium in your body, that's the balance.
So they say potassium, which is essential nutrient anyhow.
Right.
And then the potassium, if our body is supplied with enough potassium, the body can handle sodium quite well, actually.
So if you're giving your body enough potassium, you can have a diet with some salt in it.
And we just mentioned the linkages between hypertension and diabetes, right?
Right.
Potassium cuts that link too.
So it's a powerful ally.
Potassium is a very, very important nutrient.
And potassium can be found in what type of foods? Bananas?
Tomato and potato.
Right.
And grapefruit.
Grapefruit, just to name a few. I'm sure there's lots.
Very healthful foods.
Right.
No matter whether you have diabetes or hypertension.
Right.
Those are good foods anyhow for your body.
So important to know that.
By the way, the chemical name of potassium is kalium.
Kalium.
And you must have heard the words like alkaline.
Absolutely.
They are from the same word, kalium, alkaline.
Interesting. So that's where that comes from.
So the alkaline balance, acidic balance, they're all related to this potassium.
Interesting. So it's all stemming from the same thing.
Potassium is a very, very important nutrient.
Right. And you were saying before in the first section when we were talking about the side effects of prescription drugs, that in fact, when you're on these prescription drugs, that your blood pressure actually becomes sensitive to salt.
That's correct. One of the classes of the drugs we mentioned, diuretics in particular. Diuretics removes the potassium from the body. So actually, body becomes more sodium sensitive.
So you can't have as much salt because you don't have the potassium in your system.
And that it worsens hypertension, and you have to take more. It worsens, you have to take more. So vicious cycle sets in right there.
Right. So Dr. Kim, you said earlier that we need salt in our diet.
That's correct.
Is there a good salt out there?
I can say there's something called bamboo salt.
Bamboo salt.
It's very popular in the Orient. And then basically it's the salt from the sea, not from mine.
Right.
And then it is placed inside the bamboo, and then it is burnt at a very high temperature, 1000 degrees Celsius.
So what is the impact of that?
Then molecular structure of the salt changes. It used to be sodium chloride.
Right.
Now it becomes potassium chloride. So they say it cures hypertension. Of course, there was a lot of...
Because you're already balancing the potassium and the sodium in the salt itself.
Correct. There was a big debate about this, but now the scientific evidence accumulates more and more in support of this bamboo salt. It's a very healthful salt.
So that definitely sounds like something to keep our eye on.
But it's a little bit more expensive than ordinary table salt. But I see its benefit obviously outweighs
the cost.
A little bit of extra cost.
Slight increase in the cost,
I really recommend this bamboo salt to everybody.
Absolutely, so we'll keep that in mind. So Dr. Kim, let's shift gears. Let's talk about the impact of exercise on hypertension.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Exercise is one of the most underemphasized issue regarding hypertension.
Right.
Let me give you the statistics first. If a person walks 40 minutes every day, briskly,
right.
30% of hypertensive patients become normal permanently.
That's incredible.
It's good news.
Yeah, let's stop there. This is big because what you're talking about is something as simple as walking.
As opposed to, we sound so hopeless when you're talking about these pharmaceutical drugs, but something as simple as this walking every day, 40 minutes,
right.
30% of patients become normal permanently.
Just from walking.
Yeah.
So this is not complicated. This is not hard to do.
Yeah, of course, it takes some discipline.
Sure.
Yeah, but it's simple.
Discipline versus pharmaceutical drugs for the rest of your life. I don't know.
And the 40 minutes of walking is good for your health anyhow.
Absolutely.
Isn't it?
That's incredible.
Yeah. Everybody should do this.
So exercise, it's simple. It's a simple solution. And what about, you mentioned something about acupressure in conjunction with exercise?
We just mentioned, let me just say it again.
Yeah.
40 minutes of everyday walking.
This is not something to ignore.
Okay.
This is a big point.
And if you combine this 40 minutes of walking with simple acupressure.
And acupressure is?
Gentle massaging of these acupuncture points.
Right.
There is a hollow points between the skull and neck.
Right. And this is going to be on the website.
Yeah, we'll give a detailed map where to give massage. And if you massage there on a regular basis, gently, 80% of people become normal within 6 weeks.
Whoa. So 80%
No
of
drugs.
people with high blood pressure, if they're combining that 40 minutes of walking with acupressure and deep breathing.
Deep breathing, meditation. Deep breathing helps with the stress.
Everything.
Stress really increases your
Okay, so
blood
Dr.
pressure.
Kim, you're
right?
giving us an incredibly simple solution. Why don't people do this?
Misconception, widespread misconception. And then people think that when you have a disease, you have to take drugs. For some diseases, that's true. But for hypertension, there are other things you can do.
There's options, which actually I think this is a really good point to bring this up at this moment, Dr. Kim, is just to remind viewers not to stop taking their prescription drugs. They may be really excited about what we're talking about on the show today.
That's very important.
But don't just stop.
Yeah, that's very important because these hypertensive patients are already so much dependent upon these chemical drugs. If you stop it abruptly, it's very dangerous.
Serious ramifications.
Yeah. So any suspension, any reduction of these prescription drugs should be consulted with your physician in prior.
Right.
Otherwise,
so
it's dangerous.
Point.
Yeah, that's an essential point. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, Dr. Kim, we've spoken about a lot of natural remedies for hypertension. We've spoken about LBM, P700, the DASH method, and then just more recently we spoke about exercise and acupressure. So as somebody watching who has hypertension, how do they know how to combine, what to choose? How do we rank these natural methods?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Let me go slow here.
Great.
For the symptoms, for the control of hypertension symptoms, I recommend LBM treatment and acupressure.
Right, so for symptomatic relief.
Yeah, because the effects are faster and you can experience the control of this high blood pressure symptom very quickly.
Right.
Yeah, this acupressure especially.
Right.
And the LBM also are very safe treatment for the symptoms of this high blood pressure. But for fundamental, long-term treatment, if you want to expect the reversal of hypertension, I would recommend exercise and P700 hypertension formula.
So that's more of the long-term, sustained normalizing, as you call it.
So we are actually taking two-pronged approach.
Right.
One symptomatic approach, one long-term approach. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. For symptomatic approach, you take LBM and then acupressure.
Right.
For long-term approach, exercise and P700.
Right, right.
So that's the combination I would rather recommend.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And it also sounds, Dr. Kim, like there are a lot of exciting developments in the treatment of hypertension from a natural perspective.
We can be very hopeful here.
And it looks like there's a lot of new ones on the horizon as well. Yeah. And so we should mention again the website, which will be shown on the screen. And so if you have any questions or want to know more information about anything we've spoken about on the show, just simply access the website. In the meantime, I think it's really important to remind people that don't despair. We're not without hope if we have hypertension. We can be hopeful.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you, Dr. Kim, for being my guest on the show, for coming and sharing with us this insight and wisdom into this issue of hypertension.
My pleasure.
Thanks so much.